Battlefield community. As I'm sure many of you are aware by now, Hardline has been dated. It's dated for St. Patrick's Day 2015, which, if you didn't know, is March 17th. I know this date well because it happens to be the day I was born on. So I pretty much know what I'm going to gift myself next year. But anyway, that's almost 5 months after the original release was supposed to happen, which happened to be just a couple of days ago. The game was supposed to come out before they figured they better work on the game, polish it, try to differentiate between the Battlefield main series and this little side series, which they have mentioned a couple of times now that it's not a replacement for Battlefield 4, the main series. It's supposed to be this little side thing, which, you know, I don't know. I know quite a few people actually are still angry at it being a totally different game and being more infantry urban based, because they're not going to get the, you know, the crazy jet fights or all the helicopter action that probably would normally get. And I completely understand that, but at the same time, you know, if this was actually called something other than Battlefield in front of it, if just called just Hardline, would people actually be mad at it? You know, of course it does happen to look like it because it shares the same game engine, but would people still be mad? That's what I wonder. And it's not like it's been pulling DICE away from their games. Visceral's making this. They're actually helping DICE a little bit with the CTE, and this is what DICE is going to be working on, Battlefront. This is their next big project, assuming Mirror's Edge doesn't actually come out first. But this thing, we actually know now, it's supposed to definitely launch by holiday 2015. I know they said that before. There was some question if it was going to slip into 2016, I thought. But they're reaffirming they're going to make this for just a little over a year away. Of course, we don't know much other than that, just some early teaser in-game footage. Supposedly it's going to look like this. If it is, I definitely going to need to upgrade my video card. And of course that means it's going to give DICE a 2-year cycle time between Battlefield 4 and Battlefront 3, which I know they're not exactly the same game, but I'm fairly sure, other than things being based in the Star Wars series, they're going to be fairly similar games. I mean, I can pretty much just tell it, even though we haven't seen any real gameplay. And one thing that does worry me a little bit, that 2-year cycle time, which I know is somewhat traditional from them right now, isn't that long, considering Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4 also had a 2-year cycle time. We know how that turned out. And even more worrisome is this quote from EA: "Our next Battlefield experience is planned for launch in Q3 of 2017. We want to give Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline players more time to enjoy these games and immerse themselves in-game." Which, that means DICE is going to release Battlefield 5 within a year of Battlefront 3? How is that going to turn out? Now, I know DICE is a very large company. They have been on a hiring spree from what I hear, and they probably do have quite a few people working on both titles, but it does kind of worry me. Now, they say each one of them is going to run in the Frostbite 3 engine that Battlefield 4 currently uses. I'm going to assume it's at a very upgraded version of it, because I can't imagine Battlefront 3 looking that good, and it probably won't because, well, you know how it is. They usually have a monster setup running that at something no one will ever actually see. But anyway, if they're not going to work on a game engine, they might have slightly more resources to be put towards the gameplay. Now, I know that's typically a different person's job at the place, but you figure with all these games using the same engine, they should have it very fixed and very nice at this point. I guess we'll see, but is that going to be too many Battlefield games in such a short amount of time? I know Battlefront, again, isn't a Battlefield series, but come on, we all know it's going to copy a hell of a lot of it. And just 3 games in less than 20 months seems like quite a feat. And I know personally I don't want this to turn into the next Call of Duty series or Tony Hawk's Pro Skater or Guitar Hero, where too many releases too fast just waters down the series and gets to the point where no one buys or wants to play it anymore. I hope we don't start seeing annual releases of these games. It definitely kills it for me. I don't know about you guys, but releasing too often, it just makes everything so bland and awful. And of course, shoving these games out the door means the game is never fully complete. It's broken. There are tons of bugs. I mean, you can pretty much expect a lot of bugs with a game like Battlefield 4 just because it's so big and there's so many different things, but it was crazy in how bad it was at first. It was unplayable for some people even. But it seems Visceral is trying to learn from DICE's mistakes and trying to actually fix it. I mean, that delaying it that many months is unprecedented for a shooter that needs that Christmas money, but we'll see how it turns out. We're sure to get a beta here probably in February. And I guess March 17th, people in North America and Europe, you guys are getting screwed like usual. I think it's going to be March 19th for you guys. And we'll see how this game turns out. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully they don't water down the whole series by releasing too many too fast. And everything works out well. Alright, we're at the point in the video where I tell you to subscribe and hit that like button. But anyway, I got some videos here. One's upcoming games I'm looking forward to from this fall to early spring of next year. And I got another one of my wins, fails, and what the fuck videos. These are my favorite videos. I love the goofy shit that happens sometimes. Sometimes the bugs aren't always a bad thing.